failed terribly following allegations of historical physical abuse made against a former colleague of the Archbishop of Canterbury that were not reported to the police. It's alleged John Smythe beat teenage boys during summer camps he ran in the 1970s. Police have appealed for alleged victims to come forward, as our religious affairs correspondent Martin Bashir reports.
I'm John Smythe.
John Smythe QC, now working in South Africa, is at the centre of allegations involving the abuse of young boys during the 1970s at a series of summer camps in Dorset.
People matter to us very much.
The camps, which take place every summer, involved boys from the top private schools in the country. They'd engage in activities during the day and then hear talks about the Christian faith during the evening. According to allegations made by Channel 4 News, John Smythe began the abuse by grooming boys at camp, then inviting them to his home in Winchester, where they would be stripped naked and subjected to beatings. The Ewan Trust, which oversaw the camps, was made aware of the allegations in 1982, but failed to inform the police. One of Smythe's leadership team says it was the victims themselves who did not want to report the abuse.
We discussed telling the police. I wasn't part of that discussion. But the young men themselves didn't want to have their names mentioned. They had suffered enough at John Smythe's hands without wanting to the indignity of describing everything in court.
At the time, the Church of England had no safeguarding policy in place. The Archbishop of Canterbury, who also worked alongside John Smythe, says he knew nothing of the alleged abuse until 2013.
I was 20 years old. I was a junior leader in a camp. These were the senior leaders. I wasn't part of the inner circle.
Late this afternoon, one of Mr. Smythe's daughters gave the BBC an interview in which she says that her father should be held to account for his actions.
I will always love my father. However, if these allegations are true, I do think he will have to face justice, and that will be painful for everyone involved. But I believe strongly in justice, and I would want that for someone who had done that to my child.
We approached Mr. Smythe at his home in Cape Town, South Africa, but he refused to answer our questions. We spoke to a man who would not go on camera, but says that John Smythe asked him intimate questions and then subjected him to beatings. His story confirms other accounts given to broadcasters and newspapers, accounts that will be investigated by Hampshire Police. Martin Bashir, BBC News.
6 former financiers have been jailed for their part in a bribery and fraud scandal.